I was never the kid that enjoyed school. I've always considered high school to be the middle ground between childhood and adulthood. School was like a job. I go, do the work, get little coffee breaks here and there to chat with my friends, go home, and everything starts again. It was March of sophomore year, between winter and summer, between comfy sweatshirts and big t shirts, and between being a young high schooler and an old one. I wasted most of my time walking the halls. I especially like to waste time during chemistry, sitting across from my lab partner waiting for ice to boil. As I walk through the halls, I can hear pieces of conversations coming in from the rooms. They're talking about COVID. I first heard about it in January. I knew it was coming, but that didn't scare me. It would be a nice and much needed break from school. School couldn't carry on during an epidemic.
I love remembering things. Sometimes the tiniest recollections will appear in my head and brighten my day. Someone could forget their math homework yet remember peeing their pants in third grade. It's crazy how most events end up being dumped and forgotten. I remember the little things. I remember lunchtime conversations about the play. I remember improv. That class was awesome. I remember navigating around a cavalry of smelly band kids to get to the choir room. Oh, gee, the choir room! I remember having a community. All those English papers and math notes may be important, but that doesn't mean I have to remember them. What I remember most was interacting with the people who I could trust. That's what kept me going. Seeing other faces. And honestly, it's not like I even remember the conversations. That's too hard on my brain. What I remember was that I found a community I struggled to find for 2 years at this damn school. That's why those memories still stick with me. Maybe they stick too much.
Before Corona happened, I was miserable. School was the worst thing for my social anxiety. Seeing 2,000 kids and 100 teachers feeling like they were all staring at me. I hated walking through the halls, the cafeteria, the yelling, screaming. I hated going to class. I saw familiar faces, but seeing everyone else I didn't know made me shut off.
It felt like yesterday we had that discussion about COVID in health class. How did that even happen? We thought it wasn't a big deal. Who knew that millions would be sick, that many would? And me being upset about how I didn't get enough sleep before the bell rang. School, sports, canceled, students stealing hand sanitizer, and not knowing that March 13th, 2020 was our last physical appearance that school year.
I remember opening my eyes to that alarm I forgot to set. Somehow I missed that awful sound.
I remember forcing myself out of bed. My favorite class being my only motivation to just sit up. It's not like it's any different now, but I miss that class.
I remember walking around the halls aimlessly with my friends until it was 4 minutes till the bell. I miss the sound of the bell.
I remember learning in journalism about a virus so far away, it couldn't possibly be here now.
11 months ago was different.
I remember more about what they were calling the coronavirus. It could spread.
I needed a break. I wish I never said that, because the next thing I knew, there was a global pandemic. And that scared me. Being quarantined inside, the fear of depression coming into my mind. I had so many fears knowing there was no cure for this horrific disease. Surprisingly, quarantine went by so fast, and I miss it.
I haven't been sleeping well. This is normal for me even before COVID. Ever since I was a little girl, sleep seemed secondary. There was always something better I could be doing. Once I got situated in bed with as many blankets and stuffed animals as possible, I'd turn on the lamp on my bedside table and start reading. I felt like I was up for an eternity. But really, it was just 10-year-old Ellie falling asleep face first in a book around 11:30 p.m. Oh, the things 17-year-old Ellie would do to fall asleep by 11:30. My ADHD plays a huge part in this. ADHD and quarantine are not good friends. I always have to be doing something, whether that's going full eyeliner and dressing up to walk to Walgreens or actually working on my college applications. I can't sleep.
I've spent most of my life assuming that today and tomorrow are linear events. Whatever happens now will have an equal opposite reaction later. I felt like tomorrow was owed to me, as if to say, well, this happened today, so that will happen tomorrow. Many have this assumption shattered by a traumatic event such as the death of a loved one. That makes us come to terms with how incredibly out of control our future is. Compared to what some people have gone through, my sitting at home has been a walk in the park. But this pandemic has completely altered how I perceive reality.
I wake up. After a quick breakfast, I head to my room and switch on my laptop. I log on to my first Zoom class. Normally, I'd like English and I love the teacher, but ever since the second day of school, I've grown tired of this screen. I stifle a yawn as my teacher pops into view with the rest of the class. I decide to do something productive for the next hour and a half. Zone out and think. I close my eyes and suddenly I'm sitting at a classroom desk raising my hand, eager to answer a question. It's 2019. Although I have my own struggles, life is going pretty smoothly. The day whizzes past as I smile, remembering late night calls with my best friend or all the crappy jokes around the lunch table. Lunch tables. Who knew that a year later I'd be eating at my house alone, wistful for the cacophony of 100 students or those long, cramped lunch lines? Not me.
God, I'm so done with all this. I hate this virus, and I will say it again. I hate this virus. Why couldn't things just be how they were? Why did a virus have to come along and ruin everything? I would kill to be where I was a year ago. I'd roll out of bed, groggily walk to school, and drag myself to each class. But it's infinitely better than this. I literally wake up 15 minutes before my first class, which might sound great, but honestly, it just kind of shows how nonchalant this whole e-learning experience has been. But I get it though. As much as I hate all of this stuff, and as much as it pains me to say it, social distancing is the right thing to do. Hey, at least I know the end of this whole mess will be here soon. I think. I don't really know. That's what I said in March too.
I'm trapped in a basement and there's only 5 minutes till my next Zoom. As I wait, all I do is remember. I scroll through texts, stalk Instagrams of people who graduated that I didn't get to say goodbye to. But I'm intimidated by what's below the conversations. The keyboard and send button. All these months being isolated. And I don't know what to say to the people I used to talk to every day.
Mom, you're not going to work. Do you see what's on the news? Did you decide to not realize that there's a pandemic going on? I'm not letting you go out like that and risk your life. I don't care if you're trying to make money or anything. You are not leaving this house. Then your boss is dumb for even thinking of asking you to come to work. I can call him. I can give him my opinion on not wanting to lose someone I love. Maybe it'll help him realize. Maybe they shouldn't be asking people to come to work in this crisis. Even if this pandemic just started, doesn't mean there isn't a chance that you could get it. Mom, you work inside of a mall. There are crowds, tons of people. I can't let you go to that place. I hate this. We all hate this, but you need to be reasonable. Please, you can't go.
In July, I got corona. I passed it on to my dad and I almost killed him. He was in the ER because he couldn't breathe. For 14 days, it was hell. I had to spend 14 days with my family again. We played Uno for 5 hours every single night. Who knew one round of Uno could last 5 hours? I'm sick of Uno. In August, school started back up, online school. I get to sit in front of a computer for 5 hours a day and then do 6 hours of homework. My teachers don't understand that I have a life other than this computer. What a joy e-learning is. My teachers talk about how hopeful they are for all of this quarantine to end, but I'm not. I don't mind wearing a mask. I don't mind being at home. I'd much rather be here instead of that school filled with 2,000 kids and 100 teachers.
I remember being ignorant and assuming things would be fine. It's like a bad cold, right?
I remember submitting a piece for the school paper. The morning after it was published, it was irrelevant.
I remember promising friends that by September, everything would be back to normal. Now look at us.
I remember going back to clean out my locker and staring at the empty hallways I used to roam.
I remember fighting with my mom, saying I had given up, that school just wasn't worth it.
I remember going to the grocery store for the first time in months, holding my breath while someone walked past me. I still do that. Things haven't changed much, but I would give so much to go back to the way things were.
But through this screen, I see a light. I see news coverage, and in bold font it reads, "It's over. The pandemic has ended." Or maybe it says, "The vaccine is out. Bye, coronavirus." I wouldn't even care if it said, "Coronavirus forced to leave after old racist tweets resurface online." Anything. I see people in the streets, celebrating, tears down their faces. My friends and I sprint out to join them. I just hope that if it comes true, I'll still have the courage to gesture towards my old friends again. Can I even talk to people anymore? Make verbal contact anymore? Or has social anxiety crushed that too? I guess I'll have to find out.
But now we're going to have a vaccine. But social distancing was supposed to work too, and people didn't do that. What if people don't get the vaccine? I don't want to think about that now. Right now, I just want to think about when this is all over. What will I do when this is all over? This pandemic really can't end soon enough.
As odd as it may seem, given all the heartache and disillusionment that this year has brought, I'm glad it happened now. Tomorrow is out of my control and my life can change completely overnight. I think that learning these things is important and maybe the only way to stop something like this again. Despite this year being the most unexpected curveball, my new outlook on the world will be necessary to motivate me, to change it for the better. So this is me sending out a hello, a goodbye, and a see you later to all of you people. Please hang in there. Don't get lost. Out.